All right, thanks, guys. The Flyers take on the Hurricanes. 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop in Carolina. The Canes are minus 170, total at 6. We saw a 5-cent move toward Carolina. No movement on the total as of yet. The Canes open $1.65 up to minus 170. Totals at 6 goals. 62% are leaning Carolina. 69% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Flyers are plus 150 on the money line. Carolina's plus 145 on the puck line. We have Peter Mrazek for the Hurricanes, Brian Elliott for the Flyers. Elliott comes into this game with a 9-5 record on the season. The Flyers rank in the top 3 in shots allowed, on the road. Meanwhile, Carolina not playing their best puck as of late. Just 2-5 straight up in their last 7. They're also 9-11 against the spread at home, and of course, when I refer to the spread in the NHL, I'm referring to the puck line. All right, total-wise, Philadelphia 13-10 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean toward the Flyers plus 1.5, cashing in on some puck line cash and the over 6 goals in that game. Next matchup, it is going to be the Coyotes taking on the Panthers, 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop in Florida. The Panthers are minus 140, total at 6. We saw a nickel move toward Florida and movement upward on the total. The Panthers open 135 up to minus 140. Total open 5.5 up to 6. Right now, Arizona's plus $1.20 on the money line. Florida plus $1.75 on the puck line. We have Sergei Bobrovsky for Florida, Aiden Hill for Arizona. Now, if you like the Panthers at home here, they are 7-3 straight up in their last 10, 13-7-2 at home this year. They rank in the top 5 in scoring, top 10 in offensive shots. Now, Arizona on the other side, completely different story. They're actually struggling to score this year. They rank in the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 10 in shots allowed. Total-wise, Florida 16-6 to the over on their home ice. I'm going to lean Florida Panthers minus 140 and the over 6 goals in that contest. Next game, Canucks taking on the Lightning, 7 o'clock Tampa Bay. The Lightning are 225, total 6.5. We saw a 10-cent move toward the Lightning in the early betting. They opened 215 up to 225, total 6.5. 64% on the Lightning, 72% on the over. Right now, Vancouver is plus 185 on the money line. Tampa Bay plus plus $1.10 on the puck line. We have Andrei Vasilevsky for the Lightning, Jake Markstrom for Vancouver. Markstrom's 15-11-1 on the year, 266 goals against, 919 save percentage. Vancouver, they're like red hot right now. 7-game winning streak. That's right, 7-0 straight up in their last 7 games. Marquee victories over the likes of Edmonton, Pittsburgh, and the Vegas Golden Knights during that streak. They rank in the top 10 in scoring, top 10 in offensive shots on the road. They're also 13-7 against the spread when traveling this year. Now, Tampa Bay, on the other side, completely different story. They've had 21 home games this year. They've successfully covered on the puck line in just 7 of them. So, a little bit of a different story with regard to the puck line between these two squads. This Tampa Bay team, they rank in the bottom 10 in shots allowed as well. And total-wise, Tampa Bay's 25-16 to the over on the year, 16-5 to the over on their home ice. I'm going to lean Vancouver plus 1.5 and the over 6.5 goals in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Tuesday's NHL action. But before we dive into some more of that, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where we do daily premium sports picks on that website, beginning at just $1.99 per month. We went 3-2 yesterday in our premium picks on that website. We're also 7-3 in our last 10 crowd pleaser teasers on that site as well. For more information, or if you want to check out my current Patreon record, you can do that for free right now. It's right on the homepage. Just click the link in the description section below. Once again, that is patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some more free lines and personal leans right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got the Senators taking on the Capitals. 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop, Nation's capital. The Caps are minus 320, total 6.5. We did see a 15-cent fade in Washington in the early wagering. They opened 335 down to minus 320, total 6.5. 74% are leaning Washington, 64% on the over. Right now, Ottawa's plus 265 on the money line. Washington minus $1.10, laying the goal and a half. We have Ilya Samsonov for the Caps, Craig Anderson for the Senators. Anderson's just 6-10 with a 312 goals against. Meanwhile, Samsonov for the Capitals, 11-2 on the year, 233 goals against, 918 save percentage. Washington, 12-4-4 at home this year, 5-3 straight up in their last 8. They rank in the top 3 in scoring, top 10 in shots allowed. Ottawa on the other side, right in the middle of a 4-game losing streak. They've also dropped 7 out of their last 9 games. They rank in the bottom 3 in goals allowed on the road, bottom 5 in road scoring. Now, total-wise, Ottawa's 24-18 to the over on the year. Washington 14-6 to the over at home. I'm going to lean Capitals minus 1.5 and the over 6.5 in that contest. Next game, Islanders taking on the Devils, 7 o'clock New Jersey. The Islanders are minus 125, total 5.5. We saw a 10-cent fade of New York in the early wagering. They open $1.35 down to 125. Totals 5.5. 65% on the Islanders, 61% shaded toward the under. Right now, New Jersey is plus 105 on the money line. Islanders plus 220 on the puck line. We have Thomas Greiss for the Islanders, Mackenzie Blackwood for the Devils. New Jersey's just 6-9-6 at home, bottom 3 in scoring. Meanwhile, the Islanders 12-7-1 on the road, 12-8 against the spread in those 20 games. They rank in the top 3 in road goals allowed. Total-wise, Islanders, no surprises here, 15-5 to the under when traveling. I'm going to lean Islanders minus $1.25 and the under 5.5 in that matchup. Next game, Montreal taking on the Red Wings, 7:30 Detroit. Montreal's minus 160, totals at 6. We saw a nickel fade of Montreal, and we also saw movement upward on the total. The Canadiens open $1.65 down to minus 160. Total open 5.5 up to 6 flat. 83% are leaning Montreal, 88% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Red Wings are plus 145 on the money line. Montreal plus $1.55 on the puck line. We have Charlie Lindgren for Montreal, John Bernier for the Red Wings. Bernier comes into this game with an 8-12-1 record, 304 goals against. Detroit, I mean, like I said before, one of those all-time worst teams. They're just 10-30-3 overall for the year, 6-14-1 at home. Losers in 8 out of their last 9 games. They rank dead last in scoring, dead last in goals allowed, the clear-cut worst team in the NHL. Montreal on the other side, 15-6 against the spread on the road. They rank the top 3 in offensive shots. And total-wise, Montreal is 13-8 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean toward the Canadiens, minus 160 on the road, and the over 6 goals in that game. Next matchup, Avalanche taking on the Rangers, 7:30 New York. The Avalanche are minus 150 on the road, total 6.5. We saw a nickel fade of Colorado in the early betting. They open $1.55 down to minus 150, total 6.5. 60% are leaning Colorado, 70% toward the over. Right now, the Rangers are plus 125 on the money line. Colorado plus $1.70 on the puck line. We have Pavel Francouz for Colorado, Igor Shesterkin, let's try that again, Igor Shesterkin for the Rangers. Wow, that only took 3 times. Yeah, as you guys know, I do very, very well with these hockey names. Igor Shesterkin for the Rangers. Now, Pavel Francouz for the Avalanche, he's 11-4 on the year, 232 goals against, 929 save percentage, and of course, Shesterkin looks like for the Rangers making his debut for the season. Now, Colorado, they are 14-7-2 on the road, 16-7 against the spread in those games. They rank the top 3 in scoring, top 10 in offensive shots. Now, the Rangers, on the other side, losers of their last 3 straight. They're also just 3-7 straight up in their last 10. They're ranking the bottom 10 in offensive shots, bottom 3 in shots allowed. And total-wise, New York's 11-9 to the under at home. Colorado 13-10 to the under when traveling. I'm going to lean Avalanche minus 150 and the under 6.5 in that contest. Next game, Sharks taking on the Blues, 8 o'clock St. Louis. The Blues are minus 185, totals at 6. 69% are leaning St. Louis, 67% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Sharks are plus 165 on the money line. St. Louis plus $1.25, laying the goal and a half. We have Jordan Binnington for the Blues, Martin Jones for the Sharks. Jones comes into this matchup with a 13-15 record, a .319 goals against, and an .890 save percentage. Meanwhile, Jordan Binnington on the other side, 19-7-1 on the year, .255 goals against, .916 save percentage. St. Louis is 13-4-3 at home, top 5 in goals allowed at home. Meanwhile, the Sharks, out of their last 9 games, they've lost 6 of them. They also rank in the bottom 3 in offensive shots. I'm going to lean toward the home chalk in this one. Give me the Blues -1.5 and the over 6 goals in that contest. Next game, Bruins, Predators, 8 o'clock, Nashville. The Bruins are -115, totals 5.5. We saw a nickel move toward Boston and movement downward on the total. The Bruins open $1.10, up to -115. Total open 6, down to 5.5. 63% are leaning Boston. 91% are now shaded toward the over after that line movement. Right now, Nashville's catching even money for an outright win. Boston +225, laying the goal and a half. We have Tuukka Rask for the Bruins, Pekka Rinne for Nashville. Rinne comes into this game with an .896 save percentage. Meanwhile, Tuukka Rask, 15-4-2 on the year, .230 goals against, .923 save percentage. Nashville's dropped 4 out of their last 5 games. They have outright losses to the likes of Anaheim and Ottawa within their last 10 matchups. They're just 8-13 against the spread at home, and they rank at the bottom 10 in goals allowed at home. Boston on the other side, 10-6-2 when traveling, 11-7 against the spread in those 18 games on the road. They rank in the top 10 in scoring, top 5 in goals allowed. Now Nashville on the other side, 26-15 to the over on the year. I'm going to lean Boston -$1.15 on the road and the over 5.5 in that contest. Next game, Calgary taking on Chicago, 8:30 Windy City. Calgary's -130 on the road, total 6.5. We did see a nickel move toward Calgary. They open $1.25, up to -130, total 6.5. 51% are leaning Flames, 85% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Blackhawks are +$1.10 on the money line. Calgary +$1.90 on the puck line. David Riddick for the Flames, Corey Crawford for the Blackhawks. Crawford comes into this game with a .905 save percentage. Chicago's 4-1 straight up in their last 5. They're also 7-3 straight up in their last 10. Calgary on the other side, winners in just 4 out of their last 10 games. They rank in the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 10 in shots allowed. Total-wise, Calgary's 7-1 to the over in their last 8. I'm going to lean toward the home dog in this one. Give me Chicago +$1.10 and the over 6.5 in that matchup. Next game, Blue Jackets taking on the Ducks, 10 o'clock, Anaheim. The Ducks are -125, totals 5.5. We saw a 10-cent move toward Anaheim. They open $1.15, up to 125, totals 5.5. 83% are leaning Columbus, and right now the Blue Jackets are +105 on the money line. Anaheim +$1.95 on the puck line. Anaheim's 11-7-3 at home, top 10 goals allowed at home. Meanwhile, Columbus, they rank in the bottom 5 in scoring, and they're just 8-12 straight up in their 20 road games. Really struggling to put the puck in the net is this Columbus squad. They're also 7-1-2 to the under in their last 10. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean Anaheim -$1.25 and the under 5.5 in that game. All right, next and final matchup for the show, it is going to be Pittsburgh taking on the Golden Knights, 10 o'clock Eastern puck drop in Vegas. The Golden Knights are 155, total at 6. We did see a 10-cent move toward Vegas in the early betting. They open $1.45, up to -155, totals at 6. 61% leaning toward Vegas, 89% shaded toward the over. Right now, Pittsburgh is +135 on the money line. Vegas +165 on the puck line. We have Marc-Andre Fleury for the Golden Knights, Tristan Jarry for Pittsburgh. Jarry comes into this game with a 13-6-3 record, 199 goals against, and a .935 save percentage. Pittsburgh's won 7 out of their last 10. They're also 11-7 against the spread on the road. They rank in the top 10 in scoring, and they're also in the top 5 in goals allowed on average per game. Now, Vegas on the other side, just 9-15 against the spread at the T-Mobile Arena. They rank in the bottom 10 in shots allowed at home. And total-wise, Vegas is 14-10 to the over in the friendly confines. I'm going to lean Pittsburgh +1.5 and the over 6 goals in that game. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and dive into our quick pick recap. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we do daily premium picks on that website beginning at just $1.99 per month. We're also coming off a 3-2 day yesterday on that website. I like Pittsburgh plus 1.5 over 6 goals. Anaheim minus 125 under 5.5. Chicago plus $1.10 over 6.5. St. Louis minus 1.5 over 6 goals. Boston minus 115 over 5.5. Montreal minus 160 over 6 goals. Colorado minus 150 under 6.5. Vancouver plus 1.5 over 6.5. Philadelphia plus 1.5 over 6 goals. Washington minus 1.5 over 6.5. Islanders minus 125 under 5.5. And last but certainly not least, I like the Florida Panthers minus 140 and the over 6 goals in that game.